Okay, today we're going to work on changing this fender. Got the new one sitting right there. I already started working on it a little bit. And if we can see under here, in this area right in there, there was two unibolts, small ones. They're pretty difficult to get out. I use the cutoff wheel to get them out. We have rivets under here. Now what I like to do when I change a fender is I like to leave as many rivets in as I possibly can. So obviously you want to leave these in here. So I notch this out, cut a V out of it, and heat this up so you can bend this bracket out of your way. You might be able to cut it off all the way if you want to, but cutting a notch in it, I've done it before, works out pretty good. A little bit of damage here. I could probably change this hole, just change this side panel, which comes back and then wraps around. But you'd still have to take off all these rivets across the top. Do all these. It'd be a lot of work. Just as easy to change the whole fender. Then if I need a top, I can use the top off of this fender on another fender. Alright, let's get to work. Okay, you might want to take these brackets off too. A little easier to get the fender off. Draw all these out. I used a claw hammer. Was the best thing to pop these rivets off the bottom. Just get it under the edge and pop them. Then what you want to do is you get same thing back here, get a screwdriver underneath it, and then pry this way, make the fender go out that way. And same thing with up here. Take a screwdriver, pound it in there, a couple of them, and it'll pop that off. Okay, here's the fender off. You can see these are all pound rivets in here. They had one unibolt in there. I don't know why they had that in there. These are pound rivets. You need to take this one rivet out here to get the fender off. I kind of screwed up. These 3 rivets didn't have to come out. I thought the fender sat on there, but I was wrong. Here's a little thing about Hmmwvs. They changed these D-beams later on to a heavier duty one. I have these blocks in the eBay store, but they're for the heavier beam. So they don't fit perfectly, but they'll still work. You can see the difference in the older ones. I don't know what that part number is on that. I don't know if you can see that or not. But they're in my eBay store. Alright, I gotta get this all cleaned up. Get all the glue off, pound all these rivets out. Get all that done. On these rivets, the fender sits under here, so you can't drill the existing holes unless you take this panel off, take these rivets out, bend it back or something, but that's a pain in the butt. Just figure out where you can move the rivets over so they end up in between here. You see what I'm talking about? And then if it bothers you that you can't line up the exact rivets to the holes, I would suggest a new hobby. Something like rocket science or brain surgery, something where it matters. Okay, I got it lined up. Getting ready to rivet it. Things on a Humvee aren't perfect. That's one of the things about them. See how this isn't lined up here? This isn't perfect. If you want perfect, don't buy a Humvee. It'll drive you crazy if you're trying to make things perfect. You gotta remember to take that little bracket off right there of the old fender before you start working on it. As you can see, this doesn't line up. The fender does not sit perfectly up against the D-beam. There's a lip right there. And what you want to do is you get a straight edge and you put a straight edge across between the two fenders to get it so it sits level. You can use the paint line if you still have it as a line up tool too. Make sure the tailgate fits in nice. And I'll take it all back off again and glue it. I'll probably drill some holes in it for lining up when it goes back together again. You know, drill a couple rivet holes. Okay, let's get to riveting. Okay, when you test fit it, you drill a lot of your holes. This is why, because if you're drilling, when you got glue in there, it fills up with the shavings, and then you'll never get that panel up against there. See how long the fender? So I drilled all these holes. You could use a porta power and push that to that, but you have to secure this underneath first to the beams so it doesn't push the whole fender out. these done. Battery died on the camera, so looks pretty good. You could even put a bar through here and pry on that if you had two people to get that to tighten up. I just put screws in, tighten them up, and did every other one. If you have to, you can put an extra rivet in if it's really not tightening up. You know, put a screw in there, put a rivet there. There's plenty of space to put extra rivets. Alright, I'm going to work on this next.
number anyway. The doctor on the line said she'd get me in that day. Dr. Juice, Sister Squeeze.
Alright, there it is, all riveted in. I don't know if you can see those under there. Alright, now we gotta clean up this mess. I don't remember using a router though.
She come out of break of night, and the pink skies waving goodbye. She come out of break of night, leaving no traces around. She's trying to free her reckless heart. She's trying to be as light as the